G'day everyone. There's been videos abound on YouTube on and off over time about some of the things in the hobby that can make you sick. Often they go on about things that are in paint, but these days, unless it's a very particular expensive pigment, it's far less likely to get you than in the old days of artist materials and stuff and lead paints and far more of sort of toxic stuff. No, these things in front of you are more likely to have an impact upon your health. Now, this is only anecdotal evidence. This is not a scientific study. It's just me. Now, I might get one of my commenters, mobile and hostile. G'day, mate. How you going? He's made some astute comments in the past on this subject about some of the dangers inherent in some of the products that we use. Now, I'm not doing this in response to anyone else's video. I haven't watched a recent video about this subject, but more in response to my own health problems. Like a lot of us guys, the guys who watch my hobby, and I know my hobby channel tends to be a demographic of male between 45 and 70. So people very much in my age bracket, a man who's approaching 60. And over the last something over a decade, thereabouts, I really got into commission painting because I had to leave my previous line of work due to rather disastrous health outcomes, mental health outcomes. Now, since throwing myself into commission painting and just more time for hobby, I've developed health problems that I didn't have before. I mean, I have done hobby stuff since the 1970s, and back then I was using Humbrol and Airfix enamels and turpentine, and yes, I would put my brush in my mouth and all that sort of stuff, and plastic glues, but it wasn't for long periods of time. It was just now and then. As a lad, there were other things I was doing as well, but there were times when I would stick an aeroplane or a tank or whatever together, or paint some toy soldiers. And then there've been times in my life where I haven't done it. But this last decade has been an intense period where I've done it a lot more, hobby and commission painting stuff. And what I've noticed is a decline definitely in my sinus and respiratory health. Now, generally speaking, the problem isn't in ingesting directly these materials, like the things you can see in front of you. It's the vapors, and when you combine them into quite a toxic cocktail of stuff that we might use a lot, and maybe you've retired and you're doing a lot more hobby, or you're a commission painter like me, or you do a lot of hobby stuff. Maybe you're starting to notice some of these things too. I think it says, for me, it like makes me want to give up assembling miniatures, really. The effect that it's had. And hurrah for one-piece castings, that all I have to do is file off a bit of this and that. But yeah, I have, in the last 12 months, I got pneumonia, which was going around, but, I suspect I was susceptible to it. But I had, over the last 10 years, developed sort of early on in the days of my commission painting, developed sinus problems. And it's just sort of gone on from there, with infections and it never really going away. The pressure in my frontal sinuses particularly, and pain into the ears, and turning up to the dentist one time thinking I had a dreadful toothache when he actually said, "No, nothing wrong with your teeth, sir. I think you've probably got a sinus infection. And that's what it was. So I'm back again having more exploratory stuff. Had an MRI because I worried it was a brain tumor. No, it's not. And there's no solid blockages in my sinus things. I saw a GP specialist, ENT specialist, ear, nose and throat specialist the other day. And had a good look into a few things. I've had blood tests for allergies. I was kind of hoping it was just allergies and then I could eliminate some things, but no, it's not allergies. There's something amiss with the frontal sinus cavities, which kind of makes sense because if you got your nose right over where you're gluing and where you're working and where you're painting, the vapors is kind of going up your nose and they keep going upwards into that part. So as I said, this is anecdotal, not scientific. It's just my experience. And eventually I got to the point with using super glue where I developed a full-on allergic reaction. Some of you might have found it as well, that because we actually in our hobby, if we do a lot of it, we actually get exposed to worse than industrial conditions where people are exposed to these chemicals, because at least they have the health sheets and all this sort of stuff that says, you've got to have ventilation and all this sort of thing. Most of us, like me, work at a little desk with poor ventilation, in a corner, tucked away in a corner, because some of us, we're lucky to get a decent hobby space anywhere. And so we use what we can, and we tend to stoop over our work, or we bend over our work, or if we're lucky, we might have a riser desk, but most of us don't. We kind of bend over. It's probably not good for our upper backs or lower backs, but anyway, that's another issue. But yeah, the fumes just straight in your face and up your nose they go, or into your lungs perhaps. So I developed the allergic reaction to super glue. I've got this one that I try now and again here called Rocket Odorless. It doesn't fume as much, but it's still a cyanoacrylate. And as far as I know, only the specialist medical cyanoacrylates don't have as many problems tied to them. But if you get super glue on your skin or vapors go up your nose, it can damage the tissue. I think it breaks down into cyanoacetate and formaldehyde, and it could cause damage and inflammation to the tissues. Because body can't break it down fast enough. So if you're getting it all over your fingers and you're not getting it off or breathing the vapors in, it'll start to cause some irritation. With me, it was sneezing. Every time I used it, I ended up sneezing, and sinus pain, whatever. But that's not the only thing we use. Super glue, vapors. The way we use them, stooped over our work without much in the way of ventilation, it's really not good for us. Stuff like this, vapors, not good for us. Same with any other plastic glue. They're not going to do your body any favors, either your respiratory system or your sinuses. I'm not saying you shouldn't use it. I'm just saying, I don't know, just keep an eye on it. If you can ventilate, but it's your area, or just moderate how long you spend doing stuff like this. I just don't know. I'm not saying people shouldn't do the hobby, not at all. But there are inherent dangers, and I'm hoping that guys like Mobile and Hostile and other commenters will chirp in the comment section, and who might know a bit more about people who might know a bit more about the industrial chemistry and stuff like that. See, it says here, used in a well-ventilated area. These are thinners. And there's also, vapors from even the tube plastic glue that you use, whatever glues. The only one I'm not sure if it's not too bad for you, it's probably an old-fashioned wood glue. I don't know if that's got issues as well. Probably not. Nothing like what these have. So if you're getting irritation, you're getting a lot of sneezing, you're getting sinus infections, maybe wheezing, respiratory problems, don't dismiss that it could actually be some of these things you're using, because we don't. It's not like, see, a lot of the health sheets for these, when they talk about domestic use, they're usually referring to someone who sticks together a broken bit of china with some super glue, and it's a rare thing. But when we do hobby, we can go for hours and hours and hours. We might even go through a whole big assembling session where we assemble loads of stuff, and we're either getting all these super glue vapors or all these other plastic cement vapors, and then we can end up wheezy or sneezy, or I don't know. Perhaps you could share some of your experiences in the comments. Other things that are pretty dodgy for us too. Things like this, which you can't really get anywhere. This is an old tin, but I think they've re-released something. Rust-Oleum bought it out, and there it is, Rust-Oleum. Some places you can get it, some places you can't, but there are equivalents to these, and the vapors from this are bad. Extremely flammable liquid and vapor may cause flash fire. Yeah, that's the fire stuff. But it's what comes into our lungs. The vapor is harmful, it says, an eye irritant. Now, we say, I'll do that out in the garage, or I'll do that out in the shed or out in the back garden or something like that. But some of us, sometimes we don't. We just do it in a cardboard box in our room and think we'll be all right. Still copping it. It's all these things in combination. That's just thinners. That's thinners, basically like terps, turpentine, basically, calling it a pigment fixer. It's just thinners, pure thinners. And if I open this, it will fume and fume and fume and fume. Yeah, not good for your respiratory system. And then I don't use spray paints. I tried doing it out in the garage and whatever, that sort of thing. I tried. I was never any good with it. It always came. I didn't like the result. I wasn't obviously doing it right because it was too speckly for me. This is a Mountain. I'll have to zoom back out so you can see it. There we go. High quality brand Montana. Used by graffiti artists and things like that. But it's a very good value hobby for hobby use as well. Made in Spain, like a lot of hobby products. But yeah, fumes, danger, danger, danger. Not just flammability, but what it does to your lungs, your respiratory, like that image of the person with the going in there. Yeah. And, we try and ventilate, but we still, and things tend to go on fuming quite a long while, even after you think that they've stopped. The paint's dry to touch, but it's still fuming. It's still giving off harmful fumes, and you bring it back into the house to your hobby desk, it's still fuming. It does take quite a long while for that to go. See, even something like this, which is just acrylic paste, but it's got carriers in it that actually says in the fine print, may produce an allergic reaction. So it's not just any one of these in isolation, I don't think. I think, although, super glue is a pretty big culprit. But it's all these things put together that I think have helped to mess up my sinuses. And right now I'm on antibiotics again and steroid sprays to try it for a week of antibiotics, 6 weeks of steroid sprays. If that doesn't work, it's a CT scan next to see what's going on in the bones there in my forehead. So yeah, your body's not built for this sort of stuff, and it doesn't like it. And you do it for long enough, intense enough periods, it won't thank you. And I kind of think, although I see the trouble is that most GPs won't understand how much you're breathing in this stuff, because they don't do the hobby. They don't see you stooped over your hobby desk for hours at a time, sticking things together or things fuming, and how the vapors coming on. How often you do this? They don't realize that it's probably worse than even industrial exposures. And I don't even know if I can. I've mentioned it to my doctor, but I don't know. I think it's outside the realm of his experience. But anyway, he's just going through all the various procedures and tests and whatnot. But yeah, and I have made a video about this before, about a previous occasion where I got a sinus infection, and it was very much, I just focused on super glue then, but it's all these other things too. So all I want to say is, I'm not doing this in response. I saw a thumbnail for a squid man whatever thing about toxic stuff in hobby products, and I didn't watch his video. I don't know what he says in there, but this is really like a years later follow-up to one of my earlier videos on this subject, which I may have even taken down or hidden. But I'm going to put this up there because I care about you guys not getting sick. If you can moderate how you use this kind of gear, because I think this is the biggest danger to our health. Not really the paint, not these days. But if you can find a way to moderate your use or the environment in which you use it, please do, because I don't want you to be end up with wheezing and headaches and coughing up muck and pains in your ears and your sinuses and all this sort of stuff that it can develop into in extreme cases. So do please look after yourselves. And I'm not sure what I'm going to do about assembling miniatures anymore. I really don't, because I think just about anything I use is really not good for me. I may get to the situation if I keep getting commissions to paint where I'm going to have to ask apart from me using a bit of PVA to stick something to a base, I'm going to have to ask the people who send me stuff to have it already assembled, because I don't think my system can handle it anymore. But well, at least it will just make me continue to be sick. But anyway, a long ramble. Look, I hope someone finds this useful. Yeah, just provoke some thoughts, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye for now.